Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be solving Leetcode 238, product of array except self. Feel free to pause the video to go ahead and read this problem to kind of understand it, but I really don't find this problem descriptive enough, at least the statement, this explanation, but I find the examples descriptive. So let's get to the examples. So the example is pretty much straightforward. It says given an input array nums, okay, whatever he may be, in the first case is 1, 2, 3, 4. We somehow want to get an output which is the multiplication of every element except the index we're on. So for example, the first index in the output is going to be multiplication of everyone except the first index in the input. So it's going to be 2 times 3 times 4, so which is 24. The second index is going to be multiplication of everyone but the second index, which is 3 times 4 times 1, which is 12. Third, again, everyone but the third index, so it's going to be 2 times 4, 8, and the last one is 6. Okay, we want to go from here to here, but there's steps to go in between, so let's figure out how to go in there. So this is an algorithm you have to learn, or at least try to understand, or maybe memorize, but once you know it's there. And the quickest way to do it is to create two lists or arrays, L and R. Okay, list L and list R. Okay, L is just gonna be to take care of the left side, and L starts off as having this value as 1, everyone else as 0 initially at first. Okay, the values are gonna change. Okay, R is similar. R starts with the bad guy as 1, everyone else as 0. Okay, and you're gonna find out these guys are gonna change. Once you do this, we want to loop through L and R and kind of fill in each of the zeros. Okay, they shouldn't be zeros. Okay, so looping through L, you find out that L of this index is gonna be L of the multiplication of the previous two index. So this index is just gonna be 1, L of -1 multiplied by nums, the previous index, so it's gonna be 1. Let me use black. It's gonna be 1. Then you found out for this guy, he's gonna be the multiplication of these two previous indices. Okay, he's 2, and then for this guy, the multiplication of these two, he's gonna be 6. That's how you fill out L. Next, we're gonna have to fill out R. Okay, you find out R is the same, but go in the opposite direction, going backwards. So R, to get this guy, is the multiplication of this and this, these two previous indices, num and R. So he's gonna be 4. Then you found out that this guy, this index, his multiplication is this and this, so that's 12. And this, his multiplication is this and this, so that's 24. And then you're gonna find out the output is just equal to L multiplied by R. So once you do this multiplication of L and R, 1 times 24 gives you 24, 1 times 12 gives you 12, 2 times 4 gives you 8, 6 times 1 gives you 6. So this is pretty much the exact algorithm we're gonna code. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So again, I'm gonna go ahead and minimize this guy. So going by what we discussed, we're gonna have to create, first let's get the length and store it in a variable. So length is just length of nums. As always, we use Python 3 for most of our coding over here. Okay, so now we have the length. So now we want to create our L and our R variables, and our L is just gonna be, for now, an array of zeros of length. So this is just gonna, in this example where there's 4 elements, the length is 4, is gonna be an array of 4 zeros. Same for R. R is gonna be pretty similar. And like we said, we initialize the first value of L to 1 and the last value of R to 1. So let's do that next step. So L of 0, the first index, is gonna be 1. R of length -1, because keep in mind arrays are 0 based. Okay, he's gonna be 1. So now we have that covered. So next we're gonna do what we said. We're gonna loop through these arrays starting with L and populate him, because this guy is just the product of the two guys that came before him, and everyone else follows that pattern. So we're gonna say for I in range. Remember, we don't want to start with 0 because we already have 0. We don't want to override it. So we're going to start from 1 and we're going to go up to length. Keep in mind that the range function in Python is inclusive of the lower bound but exclusive of the upper bound. So for instance, if length was 4, this is just going to count from 1 to 3. It's not going to count till 4. So it's exclusive of the upper bound, but which is what we want. So we said L of I is always equal to L of I minus 1 multiplied by the input, which is nums of I minus 1. Okay, so now we're done with L. We want to do something similar for R. So for I in range, again, remember for R, we want to count backwards. We have the last guy, but we want to do everyone else. So we want to start with 0, okay, which is fine. But remember, we're counting backwards, but we're going all the way down to 0. But however, we're not going up to length. So we're gonna do length minus 1. Remember, it's exclusive, right? We don't want to override this guy. So in the case where length is 4, this range is going to go up to 3 minus 1, so it's going to go up to 2. However, like I said, we want to count backwards, okay? But first, let me put what's supposed to be in R based on the formula. Like we said, R of I is going to be R of I plus 1, not minus, since we're counting upwards. Nums plus 1, okay? But remember, we want to count backwards. Okay, to count backward, Python has the reverse. I believe it's called reversed function. This is gonna reverse this range element right here. So we're gonna count backwards. So at this point, we have both the L and the R vectors, arrays, list, whatever you want to call them. We have them populated. Okay, we have them completely populated like this. So now we want to calculate the output. We're gonna use a for loop too for I, and again this time we're gonna go through the whole array. So range 0 length. Okay, what do we want to do? So we have our results. Oh, we need to create a variable called results. You can call it whatever you want. I just like to call it results. Okay, results is gonna be all zeros for now. Okay. So in this case, results of I is just gonna be equal to L of I multiplied by R of R. And we wanna, once we're done with this for loop, we wanna return results. Okay, I think this looks right so far. Let me go ahead and submit it. Boom, success. We're faster than 54% of people. We're using this memory is less than not too bad. It works, so I'll take this. So as always, we take our steps one step further by kind of looking into the code and seeing what's going on. So I'm going to visualize this code to kind of show you guys what's going on. Okay, this is the exact same code we wrote on the function. However, I created a driver code with the first example. So let's step into it. Okay, so nums is in this global scope. We call the function, and now this is the function scope. It also has a nums which we're passing in here, which is the same, which makes sense. So length, obviously for this example, we know is going to be 4. So once we get to this point, length is going to be 4. Keep in mind that the green is the line that just executed, the red is the line that is getting ready to execute, next line to execute. Okay, so length is 4, just like we said. Now L and R are going to be created, are going to have all zeros in them, like we discussed. So L, all zeros, R, all zeros. Now we're going to create result to all zeros, and we're going to add 1 to the first element in L and 1 to the last element in R. Boom. Last element, first element. Okay, now we're going to iterate through this, doing the calculation. Okay, just like we explained on the paper. So I'm just going to zoom right through it. Okay, we filled up L, we're filling up R right now. So we're right here in the R swallow. We're iterating in the reverse. Boom, we filled up L and R. I'm going to compare it to the nodes. Okay, so we said L 1 1 2 6 1 1 2 6, R 2 24 12 4 1 24 12 4 1. So L and R have the same variables, the same values we calculated. So now we're going to go one last time through this guy and populate our results with the final answers. So 12, 24, 12, 8, and 6, I believe. So bam, our output is just what the doctor ordered. So yeah, so now we're gonna return it and we can call it a day. Bam. That's it for the video, guys. I hope this was helpful. Be sure to tune in for the next ones. Thank you.